Welcome to the Finding Mojo podcast. Watch and listen to conversations about humble beginnings, struggles, and victories.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm where I am right now, because I'm kind of stubborn. So no, I gotta do this.
Character development really did start when I cosplayed. You bump into troubles when you're younger, and then you realize, oh, I did wrong.
Featuring a healthy melange of guests from different walks of life.
We're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to land our feet on the ground and be part of society. Who are we in society? How can we be useful?
When it comes to youth, I don't know, if you're like 18 years old or 21, 22 years old, just go love a person, love what you do. When you get hurt, just accept it. It's all part of growing up.
Be inspired, get creative, and find your own mojo. The Finding Mojo podcast, powered by BSA Solutions, the place where bright minds meet. A certified great place to work. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Finding Mojo podcast. This podcast is powered by your friends from BSA Solutions. My name is Nico. Hope all is well with you. This is a very special episode because this episode is done online. Haven't done this in a while since the pandemic. This scenario is a little too familiar. But I'm happy to announce that we have a very special guest. She and I, we go way back, our market research days. And matter of fact, she actually at some point was my boss. Yes. Remember that, Reg? Yeah. You don't remember that? I worked for you back then. Come on.
No.
Come on. I did work for you. That 360 thingy. Remember that?
Oh, right. Articles.
I worked for you. Sheesh.
Sorry.
That's how far we go back. All right. So everybody, she is very accomplished. In her 30s, she is the president of AT20 Virtual. She co-manages the Google Business Group in Davao. She's also the chairman and CEO of Mr. Outsource, and she is a podcaster herself. I'm very happy about that. Good thing. She's probably one of the few people in my circle that's also a podcaster. I'm really happy about this. Everyone, please, welcome to the Finding Mojo podcast. We have Regina Evangelista. Hi, Reg.
Hi, Nick. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure.
See, you even forgot I worked for you. You're that busy.
No, it was so long ago. I honestly, I didn't remember. But now that you mention it, I'm like, right, we did it.
It's funny because at that time, I was like, wow, I work for you. I just need to submit articles online and all these things. And that's it. And then I get paid. I was not familiar with the space. Now, to kick off my question for you, exactly that, because from my circle, you're actually one of the early adapters of the work from home setup, which is to me, it was an alien term for me back then. And this was, I think, about in the 2010s, early 2010s, I think.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your journey in this space, the work from home setup.
Yeah. Okay. So I started around that time, and it was the time when I still have a 9 to 5, and then I got a gig, a writing gig, is what we used to call it, where you write an article, you get paid. That's it. The more words, the lengthier the article, the more money you make. And this was the surge of SEO. SEO was the end all be all of the internet marketing at that era. So, and then it became a point where I earned more from this side gig than my 9 to 5. So then I decided I should quit my 9 to 5 and just write the entire day. So that's when I control the work from home kind of, I kind of decide where I want to work.
You sound so pleasant, and that's probably one of the reasons why you did so well with market research, because back then we did a lot of phone work. So just to give you a little idea of what we do, we called a lot of households. We did surveys, hospital surveys, political surveys, and you have to stay on the phone for about 15, 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour. So it's important how you sound. It's very important how you sound and how you throw your questions to whoever your respondents are and keep them engaged, pretty much.
Correct.
Was there pretty much an adjustment from you just taking phone calls, doing phone work, and then just you sending emails?
I think because my course in college was literature, BA English literature. So writing has always been a passion of mine. So it wasn't really a huge shift. I think I stuck with the call center job because it pays the bills, right? It was a stable job. The writing gig, I didn't know whether it's going to dry up the next day or not. So having that, available to me both ends, that was really advantages for me when financially wise. So that's why I kept the two.
That makes sense. Now, with that, when did this start? Which year was it? Do you remember?
I think I started like really working from home 2013.
2013. So yeah, thereabouts. I think that was that. So maybe I was part of your like first year employees when you started things 2013, 2014. I may have been one of your like early employees, I guess.
Yeah, because there were so many articles and I didn't have a laptop then. I didn't have a computer. So I had to go to an internet cafe to read.
And so that early.
That early. I remember, right, I had to reserve a unit there. So I told the computer attendant that that's mine. That's mine. I'm going to come back, right? It's very funny because the people next to me are all talking to, their boyfriends, mga afam. And here I am writing, right? And then the next, my seatmate on the other was playing game, like screaming and stuff like that. And I'm here writing, right? So that was the environment then that I had to put up with.
So you were right smack in the middle of like the internet cafe boom or what you call it. Wow, that's crazy.
I know. And whenever I have my client calls, when we talk about how many articles I've written and stuff like that, and it was very noisy. And internet back then, whatever headset is there, you have to use it.
Right.
Not unlike now, the gaming internet cafe setup is really nice. You have great gaming headsets, right?
Wow. I mean, compare it to what 15 years ago, the setups at internet cafes now. Wow.
Yeah, whatever it is there, I use it. My client back then would say, "Why is it so noisy?" "Oh, I just have a big family."
Okay. So they never had an idea you were working at the internet cafe.
No, because that was such a taboo then, just for security reasons, because we're opening emails, we're accessing files and stuff like that. So it wasn't a good practice.
So that's about 12 years. Now, from what I remember, you were still in Cebu at the time when we did like the market research thing, and then of course, life happened, and little did I know that you already moved, to Davao. When did you move to Davao?
2015.
Oh, so really early. So what was the deciding factor? Why did you move to Davao?
Okay, so I was working for this article, the 360 blog company, right? So the owner of that, Erland said to me, "Regina, can you do other things? Because I'm hiring an assistant." I said, of course I can do other things, right? Because I can just Google it, right? I know there's a tutorial on YouTube how to do this. So I said, yeah, and then he's willing to train. And he said, okay, but I want to eventually start a business with you, and I want it to be in Davao City because he already has an established company in Davao City. I stayed in Manila I tried the Manila life. I tried the Manila route. I moved to Manila, stayed with family there, and the metro isn't really for me. I'm never a city girl. I mean, Cebu back then wasn't Cebu now. It's not Cebu now.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
It was enjoyable then. So right now with traffic and everything, so I said, okay, maybe Davao then was probably peaceful and it wasn't as progressive as Cebu. So I kind of like that idea. It's not province, but it's also very progressive.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'll go there. I don't know anyone. I don't have family here.
I was going to ask you that. Okay, so you never knew anyone. Okay.
No, so the very few people, the first few people I met in Davao were Erland's other business partner.
So literally work. It's all about work and just being in the city. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So he goes, do you want to start your own company? Sure. Like, when does that even happen? Like you being given an opportunity to start a business, right? And I was like, game. I'll go anywhere you want to go. And he gave me a good package where he'll pay for my house, pay for the office, everything. So I'm like, okay, I'll move. And then I moved. And then a few years, I got most of my family here. We're now here, based in Davao.
So you now based in Davao, and how many are you in the house?
Right now, I think my husband, 5. Yeah, 5. And
Okay.
then my brothers and sisters, they also relocated here. And this was after pandemic already, but they're already here and they love it here.
But that's a great deal, just out of you just being able to get everyone in one location, not even missing home, because home is where you're at now. And since
Correct.
Davao is where you're running the business, Davao pretty much is home, and having
Yeah.
people around you, having people closest to you, it makes it gets you motivated to even work and not even think of I miss Cebu or I miss Manila. The homesickness, it doesn't even, it's a non-factor at this point.
I think personally, I'm not really attached to places or
Mhm.
to things. I think personally, and I think growing up, we've always moved apartment to apartment. So that moving, it comes naturally to me. And this is the longest time I've ever stayed in one place. This is the wow.
Good on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so this is home. Because I've never felt or have the urge to move somewhere else. Like I'm just happy where I am.
So the next time I'm gonna be around Davao, I'm gonna look for you. Question number 3, Reg. Okay, now you're in your 30s and you have accomplished so much.
Yeah.
What do you think so far would be your top 3? Your top 3 biggest achievements?
I think the top of the list would be being able to build and sustain businesses all through these years. In the Philippines, 20% of businesses fail in their first 2 years. And we're already hitting 10 years. We're almost hitting 10 years and having, 70 to 90 employees under me, having such good support from with our team. It's just being able to have that from someone who doesn't have a business background. I dropped out of college. I learned literature. I don't know anything about budgets and cash flows and balance sheets or whatever, or KPIs. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just I just hire people who knows how to do that, and I just make sure that I stay in my lane. I stay where I'm, where my genius is, and I stay there. And I think the second one accomplishment would be having that work-life balance, being able to sustain. I work hard. I work very, very hard, but I also play very, very hard.
And we'll get to know about the playing very hard in a bit, right?
Yeah. So it's basically, I just make sure being able to have that. So I can work hard and I can play hard, and having, I think I'm also coming from a privileged point of view where that support system allows me to have that balance, but also the discipline to keep work, keep play, to make sure that I stop working and then I start playing and then I stop working. So those really strong boundaries. I tell my clients, you can use and abuse me from Monday to Friday, but weekends are for me. Like no call for me, and they respect that. Having that discipline, being able to sustain that work-life balance is such a huge accomplishment, definitely. And I think the third one would be, I think the podcast. I think being able to do something that I'm very passionate about. I love talking to entrepreneurs and how they've done their businesses and their struggles. And, that's what the whole podcast is about. And I know you're going to ask me about it later, so I'll just leave more for that later.
Yes, good times. Now, I'm happy to just be able to remember how things were back when we were doing the market research thingy, and then now you running businesses. Apart from that, you have the luxury of time to do a lot of things other than your business. I want to throw this question because I think this is really interesting, because 2025 it has afforded a lot of people opportunities for work, opportunities for travel, and what have you. Now, in your space, you look for talent in the country. They could be in Davao, they could be in Cebu, or what have you. Of course, since you now have an office, you're looking at proximity. So whoever is closer to Davao, then they'll have a bigger chance or a bigger shot at getting a job.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 2025 and the talents available. How is the talent pool compared to years back? Let's say 2013.
It's very interesting because when I actually had a group mastermind where we talk about the, Philippine talent, stuff like that. And one of the conclusions from that meeting was the talent is declining, they said. And this is because this is the effect of people working from home for so many years. And I'm like, no, why, what's going on? Why did you come from this finding? And they said, because we've lost that wisdom of the crowd. So everyone is so isolated at home that we no longer have group trainings. We don't learn from each other. We don't have that opportunity to basically, engage with other people who are more knowledgeable than us. Sure, there are virtual trainings and stuff like that, but it's different when you learn together. There's a shared learning experience. And that was the conclusion from that group, that the discussion of our group. And I think from our point of view, from our company's standpoint for hiring, we also noticed that most of the applicants right now are expecting, like, non-negotiable to work from home. That's basically their requirement. They want being able to work from home or work anywhere. That's the first thing. Some of even are non-negotiables. I understand some family and, small children. I understand the need for that. And I also notice how, because of, I think in my world, there's a difference between the people who work directly for clients and then people working under agencies or under, agencies like ours. There's always that gray area where they want to earn the same thing, the same amount versus what, their salary from an agency. So they said, oh, I can earn more if I go directly, So I think from that talent point of view, there are people that's good for agencies, and then there are team members who are good to work directly for clients. So there's always that difference.
You know what? I like what you pointed out about, I guess, the difference in talent, especially when you go virtual. Like you said, back when I was still at the BPO, when I did like customer support, when I did technical support, it's easier for you to learn, especially when it's peer to peer. When you have someone right beside you who's going to tell you, hey, I think you did it wrong. I think you missed a step. This is what you're going to do. And when you're in one room, let's say like 5, 10, or 20 of you, if you're in a team and if you're calibrated enough, when you do the troubleshooting steps or everything, these calls that come your way, they become easier because it's repetitive. The problems exist every day, and these problems can happen to the next call or to the other person right beside you, and you can just tell them, hey, this is what you're gonna do. To what you said, I think that's really true. Well, when you're alone, although yes, there are your YouTube tutorials and everything, I think some people learn faster if someone really just spoon feeds, or at least is able to like tap you at the back. Hey, this is what you're supposed to do.
I would always tell, work from home is not for everyone.
Correct.
If you're working from home and you have bad habits, like for example, you work from home, you save time commuting, right? What are you using that time now? Is it to sleep in? Or are you using that extra time that you just saved to learn something, to upskill yourself? What are you using that time that you saved? Because working from home, you can easily get distracted. You can the bed is there. So we have so much distraction. There's no distinction between work and personal anymore. And I worked from home for so long that when I came back to have an office, it was such a game changer. My productivity is up, being able to see my team just across the door, it's so different. And I did reap the benefits of work from home. Sure. I love it. I love being able to have seen my kid grow up and having to, access to the fridge, access to food, access to bed. In times like right now where everything is so fastly innovating, AI being people being replaced by AI and all this. If you don't have that discipline, you're not going to cut it. It's just so difficult.
Now, here we go. I saw this on your socials, and I'm really surprised because if you follow Regina on socials, you get to see a very different side of her.
Yeah.
I remember when we were still doing market research, you were like a frail, like small girl, and then now you're a triathlete. This is crazy, and I love it. I am so for it. I mean, how did you get your start being a triathlete?
Yeah, I get chills whenever someone calls me triathlete because I never,
You are,
because you are. But I never thought that I would be. Like, the only exercise that I had before was to close the door when my son forgets to close it. Yun lang. And I just, because having to work at home, having to sit in a computer, having to write all my, like, most of my life, writing and admin and stuff like that, and online, and we work graveyard. We just want to sleep during the day, right? We don't want to do anything, and when we want to do something, everything's closed. You can, or we're scared to go outside. Well, we're lucky in Davao, we can go out 2 a.m. and we're fine. Yeah, but in other places, you just can't do it. You can't jog at 2 a.m. It's just scary. So I think I started when one of my friends asked me to go on a hike. I said, whatever, I'll go on a hike. So we hiked a mountain. And then I said, okay. And then as soon as I hiked, I hear people, oh, have you hiked the top? I know, I see people say, oh, that guy hiked the top 5 highest mountain in the Philippines. Oh, that guy hiked, just came from Mount Apo. And I'm like, and that impression that I see from my friends to that person, I'm like, I want that. How do we go? When do we go to Mount Apo next? Because I've always been an achiever. I want to achieve something. And I said, okay, let's go to Mount Apo next. And they were like, what? You just hike a small mountain, like a minor says, well, let's do it. Well, what do we have to do for me to do it? Well, what are the steps? And they said, well, you need to climb this first. You need to climb this first for you to climb that. Okay, sure. Let's go. Let's schedule it. And I climbed the top 5 highest mountains in the Philippines.
Which year was this?
2 years ago.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
You are an achiever, seriously. Like, you being an achiever is an understatement. Because if you're telling me you did this 2 years ago, that is
I know. It's
wow.
If you give me something, if you give me a goal, I make sure I'm gonna hit it. Like, if you bet me on something, I will do it. I'm gonna prove you wrong. And my family were like, you will hike? You can't even walk, climb up the stairs. I'm like, watch me. watch me. And I proved them all wrong. I climbed the top 5 highest. And it was such a, because whenever, I think that one thing that clicked for me is when you're surrounded by people who are like that. Because when you want to climb a mountain, other people around you wanted to climb too. And that kind of motivation, it's just, you get influenced by very, very easily. The moment that you reach the top, the next conversation you have is what's next?
What's next?
What's the next mountain? As if it's just a normal conversation, as if it's just there, Right. So having that type of influence around me really helped. And I noticed the change in physically. I lost weight. I can see that I'm more energetic at work. I don't get sleepy at night because I just keep moving. So I just didn't stop. I just moved and moved and moved. And after hiking, when you see them, so when we were hiking Mount Apo, I can see people running. I'm like, why are they running?
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're trail runners. Oh no, here we go.
Here we go.
So I want to try that. I want to do trail running. So I signed up for my first trail run.
And when was this? Was this 2023 as well?
Yeah, that same year.
Holy. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so trail running, right? And then they said, oh, Reg, when you're running, the next thing would be a marathon. Oh, I can't do a marathon. That's like, that's 42 kilometers. Like, and they said that trail running is better than road running because trail running is, softer on your body because of the land rather than a road because it runs hard surface.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I want to try road running. So I tried road running. And the next thing I know, I'm signed up for all these running events. And 2024, I feel like was the surge or the peak of the running event. Like every month, every week, there's running event, there's a race. Yeah, so I just make sure that I joined. It's expensive, huh? Being able to
Uh-huh.
first you buy hiking gear, right?
Right.
You buy all these stuff that they said that you need, but you probably didn't. And then you buy shoes. You buy
Okay.
shoes, running shoes. So I'm like, okay. But then my mindset there, well, Regina, it's either you spend this on medicine or hospital bills, or you spend it on shoes.
Right on.
So I'm like, oh, let's go to shoes. Right. So I then signed up for more running races. And then people are saying, oh, next yan, triathlete ka na. I'm like, what? What's triathlete? What's a triathlon? You know? So I get to explore in that world. I bought a bike, right? After biking, that's when, and then I tried relay races. I didn't know you can actually join a triathlon as a relay team. Do you know that?
Yes. Yes, I did. I know this for a fact because you know those it's Iron Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Piolo Pascual always joins, and I know it's a relay team. He doesn't really do like everything. I think he like
Yeah.
bikes. A lot of the artistas, celebrities, they actually join the relay teams. Yes.
Yeah. So I said, oh, and then there was Ironman Davao happening. So I signed up. I didn't know. Right. I said, no, we're going to sign up as a relay team. Kasi Ironman, it's like that.
Okay.
I said, I'll bike. And the bike is 90 kilometers.
Shoot.
I'm like, how am I going to do this? Anyway, so I just trained and trained and trained, bike and bike and bike. Every weekend I bike. And then it came to a point where my coach said, Regina, the only thing that's stopping you from becoming a triathlon is swimming.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The biking the biking thing that was 2024 or 2023? 2024. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And I didn't know in biking you have to learn how to bike with cleats.
Yes, you have to. Or else,
So-
you hurt your foot.
Yeah. So I did cleats. I did injury because of cleats, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I broke my front teeth
How?
biking with cleats.
You-
Yeah, I got into an accident, but not
Ah.
really like a major accident. I just face planted.
Yeah, and enough to break your front teeth.
So,
Okay.
so I'm like, I don't want to bike anymore. I'm just gonna run. I'm just gonna run. But
Okay.
I'm very persistent and I'm very stubborn with my goal. So I want to be a triathlete this year. 2025. I want to be a triathlete. So I then focused on swimming. So I did swimming. But then they would say, Regina, you can't just focus on one discipline. You have to balance the three. I'm like, oh my God, what did I enter? I like, you can't just swim. You have to make sure that you also bike and you also run. So that 3 discipline and being able to be in a team where they kind of know already how to sustain that lifestyle, that's when it clicked for me. And my coach told me that, Regina, triathlon, you will see and you will learn, is a lifestyle. It's not just sports, because you get these things, your training becomes like habit. They become natural to you. You look for it. When I wake up, I'm like, hey, I'm excited. I'm excited to do. Am I going to run today? I'm going to bike today. I'm going to swim today. And it becomes just natural to you. And it's so crazy because when you stop, right? Because I did 2024, I ran 2 marathons.
And these are both full marathons, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I run the start of the year and then I run another one at the end of the year to close 2024 strong, because I started it strong. So I always have that goal. And then they said to me, the coach said, nah, you can't just focus on one discipline. So you have to keep it 3. And so that's why right now, I'm just a triathlete. It sounds surreal, but I am.
Yeah. Okay. I did see the video. I think this was like maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. You crossed the Samal channel. Is that the right term? Samal channel?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And
it's like, probably you're looking parang Lapu-Lapu and then parang Mactan in Cebu.
Still, I would rather ride my car and cross the bridge. I wouldn't tell myself, yeah, let's go swim. But you did do that. What was your time? What was your record?
28 minutes.
28 minutes.
Yeah. I didn't know how to swim.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about this. You didn't know how to swim. You taught
in December,
Yeah, so you got some time to actually learn how to swim and everything. And from you not being able to swim last December to now you crossing the Samal Channel in 28 minutes. That is crazy. Being a triathlete, your favorite to least.
Favorite first, running, then
Okay.
swimming, bike is the last.
Oh, really? I thought swimming would be the last one because it was the
No.
last thing you learned. Okay.
No, you know what? Why swimming is so nice? Probably because I'm at the point of swimming where, because when you swim after, it feels good because it's refreshing,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Right? When
Definitely.
it comes to running, you're like and then with bike, I think with bike, that's why it's my least favorite because of what happened, the accidents. Yeah, so I think I still have that fear.
Why
Swimming,
were you going that fast, or did you hit like a rock or a pebble, and then that got you like face down?
Philippine roads is what I would say.
Yeah. I thought so. I think it was just really just the roads. Okay.
Yeah, because you never know what's there.
I know. believe you me. Okay, so this one is really interesting, and I wanted to touch on this because you yourself, you're a podcaster. You have your very own podcast, Disrupt Davao. This has been running for a good number of years, and I was able to listen to some of the episodes. You were able to talk to a lot of business people in Davao. Now let's give everyone, especially those who have not listened to the podcast, a good idea of how this podcast began and who have you talked to, in the years you've had the podcast?
Yeah, it's interesting because the podcast started during the pandemic because we didn't have an avenue where we talked to business owners and we were like, we would talk to them virtually and we were asking, how are you doing business wise? Like, what did you hear from the barangay? What did you hear from the city hall? But what is the mandate, right? Should we turn off the air cons? So that was the pandemic. We kind of have that platform where we talk virtually, and then they would invite other business owners and stuff like that, and we would like, oh, this could be a good podcast where I just interview these people because I'm not from Davao, so being able to introduce to these homegrown businesses here, that have been open for so long, so being able to know their story, how they started, and then basically how are they pivoting in this pandemic. That was the whole conversation of the podcast. And then we kind of, after the podcast, my idea was to interview the same people and check where they are, but then I was thinking, how about we just interview more and more businesses, but this time not with a pandemic angle, but more of like how they started and what are some of the lessons that they want to share to people who wanted to start their own business. And it kind of helped from our point of view too, to learn, guys. I didn't know about business, to learn to my kapwa business owner as well. So it was such a good learning platform for me too, and network also, because like I said, I don't know so much people here. So that's what the podcast is all about. And I hopefully in the future we'll have Disrupt Philippines, where we basically go national and interview, Philippine entrepreneur in the business landscape. So that was the kind of what the goal of the podcast is.
Okay, so Disrupt Davao, like you said, you started more of like an information dissemination, pretty much, especially when everyone was on lockdown. So you talk to business people about how they're doing, and then pivoting to asking them for insights about how their businesses are, how they started, their success stories and everything, the challenges and all that. That's a good pivot because, podcasts, you can't be stuck in just one route. You have to have a little pulse as to what is happening around you. And pretty much like the Finding Mojo podcast, what we do is we talk to people from different backgrounds, and talk about their successes, their triumphs, their challenges and everything. Because to us, these people that we talk to in the podcast, they have found their own mojo. There you go. And I'm very happy because I know, Regina, you have found your mojo, and you found your mojo a little too earlier, like really earlier, way earlier than everyone has had. Now, I have two more questions for you, and I think this is really important.
Yeah.
You have already expressed it, and you are blatantly telling the world that you are an achiever. and no one's going to stop you from achieving more. You're still in your 30s, but I'm curious to know what's in your bucket list now.
Yeah. Theoretic, I think I want to start answering that by saying there's always another level. You think you've reached that. When you're there, there's always another one and another one and another one. And I learned that from crossing a mountain, right? There's another mountain. Finishing a marathon. There's ultra marathon pala.
Oh yeah, there is for sure.
Triathlon, Ironman. I thought that was it. Meron pala full Ironman.
Are you looking at that? Is that on the horizon?
Yeah, so I think my next bucket list right now is to be able to complete one standard Ironman. Not full, just the 70-50. One, just to complete one Ironman. To become an Iron Woman. Have that.
Great.
That's my next bucket list.
From what your coaches have told you, have you asked them about that and what you need to do to be able to achieve, full Iron Woman status?
Yeah, they did tell me, Regina, you don't have a motivation problem. You're one of the most motivated people we know. You have a strategy problem, right?
Okay.
Right now, we need to fix your form. We need to fix your speed. We need to fix your nutrition. And I'm like, okay, what? And I think they like that idea that I'm coachable too.
There, I was gonna tell you that because I was supposed to say it's a good thing that you have really amazing coaches, but I think at the core of this is just you being coachable. You could have the best coaches in the world, but if you would not even listen to whatever they're saying, if you're not even coachable, all these things, whatever they tell you, it's just gonna be out of the window.
Yeah, I know. It's just they would tell me, Regina, you're already a boss, right? To become a beginner again is such a refreshing thing for me. It just being able to see people more expert than me. That's why they say if you're the expert in the room, you're in the wrong room.
I like that.
You need to be able to learn from someone who knows more, right? Who has experienced more for you to grow.
You're a sponge is what it is. You're able to like soak in a lot of information and do something about it.
Yeah. So, because right now in business, I'm already the top of the chain, right? So what's next for me? Like I can't go down. I can't, so what's next for me? So I said, and having that channel to my energy towards with the triathlon and sports and having to become a beginner, that kind of refreshes, a lot of things mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually to me. Because doing sports, it's you. You're not doing it for anyone else. You're doing it for you. Whereas to business, you can do it for other people. You can do it for your team, right? But this one, it's filling something inside. So that's why I'm very happy with where I am.
Good times. Now, finally, I just have one more question for you. I know you're a very busy person, but this is something we wanted to throw your way because BSA Solutions, of course, we employ a lot of virtual assistants. Now, these virtual assistants, they come from everywhere. Some are fresh graduates. Some are like really fairly new to the corporate game. Some are like really maybe years into it and then trying to climb up the corporate ladder. For yourself, what message can you give these millennials out there who are trying to navigate this corporate jungle?
So from the outsourcing point of view, or like the virtual assistant world, I think I've always say this: what are you doing to upskill yourself, especially in this time, right? You don't have a scarcity of resources. You have everything right there. Google, ChatGPT, like all these automations in AI, you have everything at your disposal. What are you doing when you see a video, when you learn something, right? The distinction between successful people and not successful people is what do they do after they receive that information? After I watched a video on how to get rich, after I learned or watched a tutorial or went to a training, right? What do you do after is where that delineation is. Some people just forget about it, attends another training. So I think that's where you need to focus your time on, is to make sure that you're young, you have all the time in the world, so make sure that you have put in the effort and the discipline to do what's next for you, what your future self will thank you for, whether that's health, whether that's, wellness, or career wise, or, learnings. What are you doing for your future to prepare yourself for your future? Yeah.
From what I'm hearing in this conversation, that confidence oozes in you because you have put in the work. You have made sure that everything you say you can back up, because you've already put in the time. You put in all the effort to learn things, and that is very inspirational and aspirational. I'm just happy to be able to catch up. It's just funny that we're catching up online, and the possibility of us being in one location may be a little hard, but I'm just happy technology is able to get us in one location. Hey, Regina, thank you so much for saying yes, for joining us at the Finding Mojo podcast. Really appreciate it.
No problem. I enjoyed my time.
Do tell everyone where they can find you on socials, Reg. Go ahead.
Yeah, just follow me. I'm Regina Evangelista on all social media. Just search for my name on there. If you have any questions, let me know. If you DM me, and I'm very glad to be able to share some tips here and there. And I think at the end of the day, if you have podcasts like this, back in our time, podcasting wasn't a thing.
Oh, it wasn't.
It
was not.
Yeah, radio,
Mhm.
right? I'm a listener of Nico, right? Even when you started, like Killer B, you were still, what you call them, junior jock.
I was a campus patroller. So thank you so much, Reg, for joining us. And this has been another episode of the Finding Mojo podcast. We are brought to you by your friends from BSA Solutions. You take care, and hope to see you on the next episode. Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Welcome to the Finding Mojo podcast. Watch and listen to conversations about humble beginnings, struggles, and victories.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm where I am right now, because I'm kind of stubborn. So no, I gotta do this.
Character development really did start when I cosplayed. You bump into troubles when you're younger, and then you realize, oh, I did wrong.
Featuring a healthy melange of guests from different walks of life.
We're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to land our feet on the ground and be part of society. Who are we in society? How can we be useful?
When it comes to youth, I don't know, if you're like 18 years old or 21, 22 years old, just go love a person, love what you do. When you get hurt, just accept it. It's all part of growing up.
Be inspired, get creative, and find your own mojo. The Finding Mojo podcast, powered by BSA Solutions, the place where bright minds meet. A certified great place to work.